G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on the brand new expansion for Age of Empires 4. This is the Sultan's Ascent. Today on the Japanese spring biome, one of the best biomes in the game, on the new map Himayama, definitely one of my favorites. Let's introduce our players. Spawning in on the east side of the map in the color teal, playing as the Japanese with a bit of an interesting opening right here. It looks like we're going to have a water opening. It's Liquid Demu. And on the west side of the map, playing as the Mongols, it's Real Starflark. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a casted game. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribed and tap that bell for notifications. Look, we timed it up again. Boy, oh boy, it's going to be a good game. I can tell you that much. I'm looking forward to this. This is a pretty interesting matchup. Mongols versus Japanese. Why is that an interesting matchup? Mongols love to get out, love to be aggressive. Japanese, a little bit more of a defensive civilization, like to stay within their own base, don't really like to get out and see the sights. And because of that, I think you're going to have a very interesting dynamic here with maybe a Mongol player looking to try and get some big surrounds coming through up against Demu on the Japanese. And Demu, as the Japanese, just kind of chilling out, minding his own business, dropping a few farms down, that sort of thing. So let's get into it. Let's take a look at how that opening is going, because on this map, you do have access to a couple of fish in the middle. So we can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 shoreline fish, which might not seem like a lot, but you got to remember when it comes to the numbers here, 100% this makes sense to get out on into early on. The question is going to be whether there is a presence of Mongol military early on in this game. Let's take a look and see. We've got the barracks coming down. Now, Starflark did scout out that villager early on in this game. And it's important to note that he may be looking to put on that pressure towards the dock. But there's also the potential that he just goes past that and goes looking for gold. Because you've got to remember, Demu's going to be quite late out to the gold. But even though he's quite late, he makes sure he sends a lot of villagers. And you can see how smart Demu is when it comes to knowing the matchups and understanding the matchups. Like, I specifically mentioned that the Mongol player might think about, instead of going for the middle, going for the gold. Because you go for the gold and you cut them off before they can even age up. What does Demu do? Almost within seconds, throws down a forge with 5 villagers, just so he can gather up 2 sets of 100 gold, make sure he's got enough to age up. He's nowhere near age up at the moment. He just wants to future-proof himself so that he knows he doesn't get stuck. And that's so smart. Such a great foresight there from him. And I'm curious to see whether he's going to delete this forge. It is technically within the range of the town center, but you've got to remember that the spearmen can sit just outside that range and siege the forge down. You can always bring a villager in to repair it while you wait for archers, but you're playing a dangerous game there. In the middle of the map, it looks like Starflark will begin to move towards that central location and is looking to focus down the dock. One thing to note is that Demo could be looking to rush up into the feudal age here and could be looking to try and deal with these units very, very easily just with his dock. So, well, not with his dock, but training a unit from the dock. So we'll see how he does it. There's a fair few spears out here. I think Starflark should be fine in this regard. The other thing to note is Demu could go for another sneaky dock on the other side, but you know, you're not playing the Chinese, you're not playing Juicy's Legacy. It's going to be a bit of a rush. We now see Starflark looking to throw down the dock here, just in case. I'm curious if he's going to be looking to get on the fish here, or whether he's just thinking about minding his own business, but it's going to be the Coca Township of everything coming out here. So not going for the farmland mark, the Kura storehouse, instead going for the Coca Township. Very, very interesting. We don't often see this landmark coming out, but it does make sense to be going into this landmark just because your opponent's going into a dock. So why would we do that? Well, we can delay the dock by 30 seconds. No matter what it's doing, we're always going to have access to that Shinobi. The Shinobi can come out and it can make sure that it uses its sabotage ability on that dock, preventing any sort of shenanigans for the initial stages of the game. But now that dock will be coming down. Expect to see that Shinobi on the way shortly. Let's check in with Starflark and see how he's doing. Because now that he's gone into that dock, expect that you're going to see a couple of fishing boats out here. But for the most part now, looks like the middle has been won by Starflark. Means Demu's going to have to head back to the drawing board with this regard. So he comes out here, sieges the dock down, so he reaches the feudal age. But how does he neutralize the dock from his opponent? That's the part that confuses me, because it makes sense to be going into this, but you do give up a lot by going into the Coca Township. Look at the villagers already been, or the Shinobi's already been switched over to a villager, and you can see how fast they run. That ain't no normal Mongol villager right there, my friends. That's the real deal. Comes out looking for a sabotage here. Wants to prevent those fishing boats from being trained. He's actually just going to come right up to the villagers, and you can see him running away straight away. Throws the sabotage out. Do we have the Shunshin in? He's already popped it. He could pop it again. He's just going to head back towards... He's just going to start sieging down the dock. Okay, so he's going to use the Shinobi to take away the central pond. My question is this. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth going an entire landmark to neutralize a player on the water when realistically they've got 1, 2, 3 fishing spots that are left? To me, it doesn't really feel like a good deal. I feel like that's a, you know, because you're kind of, what's the saying about cutting off your own nose to spite your face? It feels like that sort of thing. Like and he's doing work. Don't get me wrong. Like there's a lot of Shinobi coming out here, but still, at the end of the day, the water is powerful, but it's only powerful for the first 5 to 10 minutes. After that, it's losing its efficiency significantly. Now, Demu looking to put down another dock. Now, don't get me wrong. There's other factors that this pond could play. For example, you could look to see a Baoshuan in here in the Imperial Age, but that's very far away. And you're going to have things like Springalds in play, Rams in play, lots of different factors that could potentially limit the effectiveness of any warships in the center here. So just keep that in mind. But now, the dock finally gets that last fishing boat out. A little bit of a waste there. A bit of a waste of 75 wood, I would say, for Starflark. Let's check in with him, because that age up has come through. He's gone for the silver tree now. We'll be moving it to the back of the base. Not going to be looking for any double production at this stage, but has a really good position. He can technically go for that double trade as well. That's the other thing to note. Now, Shinobi coming out, looking to melt through all of the spears, doing a wonderfully decent job. Look at the damage that comes out. I tell you, oh, they shut shit in front. Oh, beautiful block right there. I tell you what, we are now officially Dota 2. You won't see any blocks like that outside of Dota 2. I guess with the exception of the Japanese. That was legit. That was actually sick. The villager survives on 1 health. I am sorry, but that's got to go on the thumbnail. That is next level Shinobi tactics right there. That was insane. That was actually insane. The way that he predicted that, the way that he just got that pixel perfect positioning. But now on the backside, we do see that he's starting to rotate a lot of villagers here over to gold. Normally, you won't see this many villagers going to gold. Oh, it was the town center. Normally, you won't see this many villagers going to gold unless there's a castle age. And this is kind of good for Starflark because this gives him a read. Normally, in this situation, you know, finding a read can be difficult. You've lost the water. You're kind of forced back to your base. But seeing 7 villagers on gold, you can see 7 villagers on gold for the Japanese in 2 circumstances. Number 1, they're going castle age. Number 2, they're going double racks and they're putting down like a whole bunch of they're putting out a whole bunch of gold heavy units. So that's going to be your samurai, that's going to be your Onobugeisha, that sort of thing. And normally that's after a second town center gets placed because you don't really have the food economy to support 7 villagers on gold, especially if you don't go for the Kura storehouse. So I feel like it's probably going to have to be a castle age coming out from Demu though. But now we start to see that silver tree production is beginning. What's the trade number? I'm going to go with something like 69. Let's go. 66. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad on that one. And the numbers are starting to build here for Starflark. He's got a decent combination, the Keshiks, early on. This sort of pseudo-knight unit. Half horseman, half knight, and half vampire, if you can be 3 halves of anything. I guess you probably could. How can you have 3 halves of something? Well, let's say we get 3 cakes, and we cut them all in half. Then I take a half from each of the cake, and now I've got 3 halves of a cake. Checkmate, atheists. All right, well, numbers starting to look really good here for Starflark. He's trying to put on pressure towards the center, but obviously, it's difficult when the junk is out here. The outpost is slowly pushing forward. You can see the Shinobi ready to Shunshin. He's going to have to pop those villagers, and you can see just how quickly he gets away from there. He's so damn scared of those Shinobi. He saw what happened early on. Outpost again going to come up. I think he's going to have to leapfrog at these, or what do you call them? I guess a leapfrog probably makes sense. Oh, jeez, look at the range on that thing. He is slowly dishing out damage. Oh, the back line's getting hit. Look at that. Where does he go from here? The outpost, he's kind of scratching his head like, okay, I'm not sure what to do here. How do you deny this from the junk? It's got 6.5 tiles of range. I think the outpost has, what, 8 tiles of range? So there is a little bit of a window in there, but you're going to have to shuffle forward ever so slightly. But now, Demu, in the north of the map, begins to make his way up towards the traders. He will spot these out. You can see that he's got the scout with his army, and with that, expect to see some big Shunshins. Very nice. I'm loving these Shunshins. Honestly, these are great, but look at the Mongol Khan looking in toe to chase. Keep in mind, these shinobi are light melee infantry, which means that the archers do get their bonus damage against them, which means that they do pretty well up against them. But unfortunately for the shinobis, they will be going down here, and that's going to leave Starflak with a pretty decent, a sizable military lead early on in this game. We'll ride on board with him as the production is starting to come down. He's got the double archery range here, just in case. We'll be heading... Has he got the blacksmith up just yet? No blacksmith up just yet, but expect to see +1 coming through shortly. And I'm curious to see what kind of approach he takes, because personally, I think this is one of the best Mongol approaches that you can have. Big feudal age style. It's really important, but then trading behind it. And just non-stop trade behind it is really, really important. But we want to play for a longer feudal. We want to get our blacksmith upgrades. And then when we've got the gold to do it, then we want to go to Castle Age. And I think that's the perfect way that you can play Mongols on a map like this, where you've got access to a really solid trade, just because it guarantees that you've got a win condition. It's trade. If your opponent doesn't stop your trade, they're going to be in trouble. All right, well, we'll check in with Demu, as it looks like that age up is going to be coming through. Does he go for the Temple Equality here? I doubt it. It's probably going to be the floating gates. Expect to see them floating their way into the game, and there they are. Now, with 12 villagers putting it down, but a little bit concerned. The palisade wall's slowly going down. He's got the stable nearby. Double. Oh, gosh. He's going to go for a double stable play. I do like this. So the way that this works is quite smart. What he's going to do is he's going to age up and immediately pop the Yoroshiros into the stables. He goes from having 2 stables to effectively having 5 stables. If I remember correctly, it might be more than that. We can double check. It could be 6 stables, actually. The problem that he's going to have, I'd love for like a re-wall to come out here, even at the cost of a couple of villages. He has, the enemy archers have gone away right now as well. So you could get that down, but he needs to get that Yoroshiro out ASAP, especially because these Keshiks are now through. Where's he going to go? What's he going to do? Demo's got plenty of resources in the bank, and indeed he's going to throw it in the first of the stables. Often we see players just go for the 1 stable, and then the second... Oh, yeah, he's got to be careful with the Shinto priest. Villager coming out here, looking to greet the new Kashyyyks. Says, hey guys, how's it going? Welcome. Welcome, this is the Japanese base. Oh wait, no, we shouldn't be welcoming the enemy. Definitely not. Definitely not worth it, but... What have we got? Oh, no way, he's already going for Futosashi? Whoa, okay, very, very big. I do like this. This is quite big this early. It's expensive though. That's the other thing, right? Like you're paying a lot of resources for this, but now the mounted samurai is out. +1 ranged armor is going to come through here. No ranged attack on the other side for Starflak, so it's not really going to make much of a difference at this stage, with the exception of, no, not even the Khan's not going to do enough damage for it. But now he's working down that stable. He did manage to get the secondary, the second Yoroshiro inside that stable, so he needs to try and fight for this, but at the same time, he wants to make sure he doesn't die. Spearmen are finally coming in. He's got to go right now. You can see the 3 mounted samurai are through. 4th one is coming in. He can try and pick off the spears. Numbers are building. Might need to bring a villager out to repair this stable. And now looking to pick off those slight reinforcements. Oh my god, wrong button. Sorry, guys. Entry to the cinematic mode. I didn't mean to do that. That was a bit awkward. Just as the fight begins as well. Drongo, I can't believe you do us like that. I apologize. I apologize. I got fat little fingers. Sometimes they hit the wrong button. I didn't even know what I was trying to press right then. Oh, you know what I was trying to press? I was trying to hit the button on my I've got like this little, it's a, what's it called? A stream deck. That's what I was trying to hit. Like my keyboard was a little bit too close. So that's where that issue comes. Stable goes down. Yoroshiro dead. Second stable now under threat. Keep in mind the Yoroshiro is inside this. If he does lose this stable, loses access to that Yoroshiro inside as well. And there are some really good numbers on these as well. So you are losing out quite a bit of resources. But now those mounted samurai coming through. The Uma Bannerman as well needs to pull the vills to repair. Otherwise he could look to try and commit. Spears on the back. He's got to be careful to try and take them down. You can see that they are taking a little bit of damage in here. Needs to make sure he focuses them. That's going to be the key here. Ignore the archers. The archers you don't care about. They do 1 damage a pop, and that's exactly what he does. Cleans up the whole front line. And you got to ask the question. I mean, did he really need to wait for this many units? Probably not. But it's the safe bet, right? It's that classic case of, do you go when you're 100% sure, or do you go when you're 80% sure? Because if you go 100% of the time when you're 80% sure, 20% of the time you're going to be losing it out. So I think it makes sense in that regard. But looking to try and pick off more villagers. Starflak doing some real damage here early on. Have a look at the... Oh my god, look at the villager count. Oh my lord, he's taking out 27 workers. What? How? 27 workers already? I did not... Oh, did he hit the workers down here? I mean, where are they? He had to have. There's only 25 workers for Demo at this stage. And he's lost one of the Yoroshiros. He's got the second one up, which is, you know, it's decent. And he's with the floating gate up, he can look to scale into the late game, but he's going to need to take it late. What do you do at this stage as the Japanese? I think number one, oh, this is so hard. Actually, I really don't know here, because your enemy's been trading all this time. They're going to be building up to a castle age timing. So they're going to have spear crossbow coming out very soon. So Demo's doing definitely the right thing in this regard, in that he's getting out onto the map and he's killing the opponent's trade, but he's also keeping the opponent on his side of the map. That's really, really important to do in this situation, because you need to buy time. But the other thing is, I feel like Demo needs to add a second TC here, because he has lost villages, and surely he will realize that and say, okay, I've lost villages, I need to catch up. So I expect that we're probably going to see that, and that definitely makes sense. But the question is going to be whether he can catch up before his opponent takes him out. Now, let's check in with the trader numbers down here. It says that there's 12 traders alive for his opponent, but you never know if that number's accurate. You can see, no, it is accurate for the moment, because they are on the network. Nice little cleanup here as well for the mounted samurai. We'll be able to pick off a couple of spearmen and then just head on out. Absolutely perfectly played. Now a new Khan rises from the dead. Demu definitely, at this stage, he's behind, but he's still in with a chance. I'll say that much. He's still in with a chance at this stage of the game. Now coming through, looking to try and equalize a little bit against his opponent. Nice little raid. Pops a trader. Couple of villagers now. Throws down all of these outposts, but he can look to really clean house here, but the spears are going to come through. The response from his opponent's already in. He needs to make sure he does not lose this cavalry. This cavalry is what's going to maintain his presence on this side of the map, and if he loses the cavalry, then all of a sudden, he doesn't have the ability to keep his opponent on their side of the map, so that's really key. Only 4 villagers building the landmark here. He's going to force them away, but one of them will go down. Cavalry units to the spearmen. All right. We'll check back in with Demo, see how he's doing. He's thrown down the Shinto shrine. He's got the Yoroshira in the base, so expect him to be out on this map looking to pick up those relics. I don't see him for the moment, but this is perfect. This is exactly what he needs. He's got to be careful, though. You just got to keep coming down the line here, picking off the traders as you go, because slowly but steadily, you're bringing that villager count back in line with where it should be. Should be as a Demu fan, of course. He's got enough resources now to throw down that second TC. Let's see if he goes for it here. The alternative option, he's already gone for the Daimyo Minor, so I think that's absolutely fine. He's going to throw down farms. I guess realistically, he's only got food options out on the map, and he doesn't really want to get out there at this stage. Even though he does have map presence, he definitely doesn't have the staying power that would be required. So now his opponent will go into crossbow spear. A really, really good combination of units, especially up against the Japanese like this. And the question is going to be, what combination of units does Demu subsequently go into? I'm thinking probably Samurai makes sense. Maybe even going into Honor Bageisha could make a lot of sense as well. And then that way, you're playing an infantry composition. But then they can just very easily switch into archers. And you know the Mongols love to switch into those big, bad archer balls. So that's something that you've got to be careful about as well. I think Spearman Crossbow is still such a great composition to be going in a lot of these matchups. All right, well, at the moment, Demu now, he has spent the stone. He's gone into the Daimyo Palace. So instead of going into a second TC, he's looked to try and get bigger, stronger, existing villages. And I do like that. I think that makes a lot of sense here. Maintains that one base integrity. The question is going to be whether he can outlast his opponent's economy, because it's only going to be a matter of time until that economy catches up with him. We can see the production already coming through. 3 crossbows in the queue. Nice little raid back here from Demu. This is exactly what he needs to get back into the game. You can see there's plenty of outposts on the wood line. He just wants to try and keep these villagers alive. And Demu just trying his best to get back into it. Spearman just chasing away. Look at the health on these mounted samurai. Slowly and steadily losing health. But he does manage to keep them alive. And that's what's important in this situation. Another trader gets caught out. He's down to 6 traders. Make that 5. Down to 5 traders. Starflark, he's having a tough recovery in this game. You know, just when you thought it was going to be fine, it starts to look a little bit concerning. Now, how does he get back into this stuff from the perspective of Starflark? I think, number 1, get your Spearman Crossbow out. Look to try and get outposts along your trade line. That could definitely help you in this situation. And then look to put pressure on your opponent with that Spear Crossbow. I think that's going to be the way that he does it. Maybe look to push with a Mangonel or something like that. I mean, do you really want to go Mangonel against the Japanese? They're the Holy Roman Empire of the East. It's just all melee armor. And look at this. Demu now coming through. He will spot out those infantry units waiting down the hill for him. Looks like the Uma Beneman might go down here. Indeed, it will. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, it looks like the the gate has never, or the hole in the wall has never been closed. And as a result, Demu might be losing a couple of villages. You can see straight away that Keshik is going to run through and do some damage here. So one of the things to note is that whenever you lose a wall like this, you always want to try and rebuild it. You want to close that wall up because now all of a sudden, oh, spears, almost in trouble in that middle of the map. All right, well, at this stage of the game, villager count slowly getting back there though. 33 against 55. Demu's done a good job to get on top of it, but I think the one thing is he needs to keep these raids up. He can't ever stop these raids. You allow these raids to keep going on, if his opponent allows the raids to keep coming on, all of his attention is going to be drawn here. You can see these crossbows and spears should not be in the back of the base. They should be out on the map, exerting pressure. They should be pushing down walls. They should be preventing gathering of resources. You know, we see right now that more and more mounted samurais are coming out. And this is the consequence of not having walls in a meta that is so reliant on them at this stage of the game. It is just, it is really, really important to have. Crossbows, spears, cleaning up. But the numbers continue to build here. We can see he's up to 20 spears, 13 crossbows, and now heading into samurai. Now remember, he's going into samurai here, but his opponent does already have crossbows on the field. He has seen that, he's confirmed that, he knows the composition that his enemy's going into that crossbow spear, and now a couple mounted samurai taking a little bit of damage there, but they are going to survive. These guys are survivors. Was it Beyonce? I think it was Beyonce. Definitely. I suspect it probably was. She's a bit of a survivor. Towards the middle of the map, the junk going to be helping out, providing a little bit of cover fire here. Now the samurai able to run away. So the big thing for me is about whether Demu's going to be adding in additional units. Like, I don't think you can just be going samurai only here. Samurai, they do very well against infantry, but with the crossbow on the back line, it's going to be troublesome. So I think adding in a second layer of maybe some Honor Geisha could make a lot of sense. A nice little potential from Demu up here, looking to gather up more resources on the map. And now the numbers are really starting to build. He has actually gone into the Honor Geisha. We can see he's got just a couple of them. Veterancy has come through for them. Springwood emplacement on this backside, this wood line. Tell you what, he's trying his best to shut it down, but Mounted Samurai just continue to come back here. He's going to try once again, but you can see the power of the Springwood emplacement just shutting that raid down completely. If it wasn't for the Springwood emplacement, I don't think you can really do much there. And now that push is starting to come to shove on the front line. There's a part of me that kind of wishes that instead of going into all the samurai, he'd just gone into only Honor Geisha and look to get like the +3 melee attack. You can see he's on +1 at the moment. He is getting +2 through. With +3 and the Bannerman here, you can be seeing some serious numbers, but now pushing up with the Kurotai, the gold's going to be under threat. He doesn't have a lot of gold in the bank. Let's switch it over to income so we can get an idea on where these guys are at. Less than 20 villages, or 23 villages rather, the difference between these two. Did he just put the Yorishiro in the farmhouse? Oh no, the villager dropped the Yorishiro, or dropped the food at the farmhouse, I see. Instead of going to the TC, it decided to go. How is 3 tiles to the farmhouse better than 1 tile to the town, or 2 tiles to the town center? I don't know. I'll never understand the villager AI and how they prioritize dropping things off at specific locations. Because you can see this guy, he's gonna make a little bit of a distance right here. Comes back finally. Compare that to like if he was just working this field and then just running in. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Of course you know what I mean. Demu's still not walling up on this top side. Will allow these barracks to potentially be threatened by this large army from Starflark. Have a look at this. Massive army. And this is where it starts to get really scary because the Japanese army should be much bigger than what it is, but because he lost all those villagers, he subsequently has less units. Because he's got less units, it looks nowhere near as scary as it should. So Demu's going to make a move out of his own base, looking to try and put some pressure out on the map in that trade line, but Demu's got to be careful right now because this is a lot of units, and this is an amount of units that will commit to staying in this base. Villagers now going to be caught in a bit of an awkward spot. The crossbow will be able to take them out one by one. Spears in tow, looking to try and chase them, and you can see the movement speed from the Japanese villagers is very quick. Villager jumps inside. I love that he runs to the outpost that's dying. He's like, let me die with you, outpost. The captain always goes down with his ship. And now Demu, on the other side of the map, is going to be looking for a little bit of a base trade. I guess that's where we're at. Is he trying to call his opponent's army back by saying, you know, I'm in your base killing your dudes, therefore you should come back to my base? I don't think that really works, especially when Mongol town centers, landmarks, can move. Not to mention the fact there's a Kurotai over here, so you're going to have to kill the army before you kill the Kurotai. Now, decent numbers coming out here. Battering ram going to be coming out as well for Starflark. On a Begeisha. There's not a lot of them here, but you can see how quickly they're going to be melting. Khan's going to come down. And now they're starting to work their magic on that front line. But you can see the crossbows are managing to do a pretty decent job. The pathing here, not the best with the Onabagati. Now towards the base. He's going to continue working down that main town center. He's cleaning up the trade as well. Bit of a base race. We haven't seen one of these in quite some time. But if there's anybody who's good at doing them, it's got to be Demu. I remember the last time I saw a base race. It must have been Demu versus Mister. That was a hell of a base race. But now, that town center, main town center, going to be going down here. Silver Tree going to be on the move as well. It's no longer in that corner. Instead, packs it up, puts it a little bit further over. And now we got landmarks under threat. Oh, is this just a good old-fashioned base race with nothing in between? Is this really it? Is Demu not going to defend? Okay, he says, all right, it didn't work. I'll try and defend. Now, the problem that Demu's going to have, he lost a lot of Honor Begeisha to these crossbowmen, and the crossbowmen maintain their mass. But the big thing for the Japanese is the Japanese need to maintain their mass, whereas the crossbows, it's kind of like, you know, it doesn't really matter that much. Whereas the Honor Begeisha, it really matters. It's so important for them to have that big mass built up. So it's definitely going to hurt him in this upcoming fight. You can see the Demu needs to defend this position. He's down quite a lot when it comes to the population, and I feel like you can't help but contribute this just to that early stage of the game. The fact that he lost so many villagers, and I think it had to be these villagers down here on these berry bushes. We just didn't see it because it was it was in the middle of the fight. But now look at this. Oh, we got villagers being pulled. He's just looking to snipe landmarks. That's literally it. He's doing the Don. Slowly but steadily making his way back. Demu may be the victim of a landmark snipe. More villagers on that backside. Plenty of units here. Oh no. Is he even going to get a fight right now? Demu. This could be terrible. Villagers do get pulled. He's going to need repair. Demu just taps out. He says he can't do it. Wow. I'll tell you what. That was an absolute gamble that did not pay off for Demu just then. He went to the enemy base. He said, I'm going to try and bait you out, see if I can bring you back. Did not have success, and as a result, loses the game for it. That is absolutely destructive. Well played by Starflark.